Well, Ella wants my seat right now, but I have a little work to do, so she's going to have to wait for a little bit. So, kind of like an ice protester, she's blocking the screen. Of course she is. Well, hello everybody. I know this is a little different angle, but I wanted to show you what Ella's up here, kind of barricading my view of the TV. So I just thought I would show her to you all. I have been called in tomorrow. As I record this, it is the 17th of January, a Saturday. Tomorrow I have been called in to fill in on the slides at my church for another member of our team who is having eye trouble as Ella plays with the TV, as you can see. I don't really rehearse anything, folks. I just wing it. I just wing it when I do these videos, and sometimes Ella wants to be a ham and she's going to act up. So I just hope she doesn't knock my Diet Coke over that I'm having. The good thing about it being called out is you don't have to put your Diet Coke on ice or in the refrigerator. You could just drink it. But anyway, everybody, what I wanted to point out is I wanted to show you how I prepare to do the slides, and it's a 2-day process. Now, I have just checked my pastor's email, and he has given us the list of songs that we are going to do. And on one of the songs, since we don't do that one song very regularly, and I'll just come back to normal here. Yeah, it looks like I'm kind of on a slant, and I'm kind of crooked in the sense of what you're seeing. So just hang on a minute. I can edit this out later if I need to. I don't need to. Okay, that's better. So as I was saying, I just got an email from my pastor. I know the songs that he wants to do, so I have done quality control on these songs, making sure they're all the PowerPoints are there. On one of the songs, as I was saying, it's a song we have done less frequently, so I was just checking the lyrics, making sure everything is copacetic, and because last week it wasn't copacetic, there was a couple of songs that he had not done previously last week, and I had to fix those up a little bit. But everything is in working order, and now it's just a matter of getting there tomorrow morning and executing the plan. And greetings, everybody. It is now, let me just check the clock here on the microwave, 7:47 on Sunday, the 18th of January. Now, I'm just about ready to be picked up. I have neuropathic feet. I can't feel the bottoms of my feet, and it's been that way since 2017. So I can't drive. So my friend Rob picks me up, and me, his wife Angel, and me go to church. Angel sings in the on the worship team. But let me just update you on the progress of me doing the slides in a couple of hours. By the way, always a good idea to make sure all of your bathroom duties is done uh, before you go, because you don't want to be. I'm sitting in a booth for 2 hours, and you don't want to be wanting to go to the bathroom when you got work to do. So I have checked the songs out. They're all in working order. I did that yesterday, as you hear with my computer updating. Uh, we have another member of our team that does what we call before and after. These are like the rotating announcements that take place while we wait for church to begin and just after churches begin, while we're still disassembling everything on the computer and turning it off. We have what we call before and after, and it's just you like when you go to a movie theater and they have a rotating set of slides. That's what they do. That's what we do at our church. We do it before and after. Then we do announcements. It's usually the pastor who does it. Sometimes it's Rob himself, and sometimes it's somebody else who works with us who gets chosen to do announcements. I've done announcements before. And then we get into our worship songs. We play one worship song. Then we do adoration, uh, which takes maybe a minute or two. But anyone wants to say something good about the Lord does. And then we do two more worship songs. I have bad knees, so when I'm not doing the slides, I find that standing for like 3 songs is a bit of a challenge for my elderly knees. I'm going to be 55 this year. Can't believe that. I'm already 55. But at any rate, And then Pastor Doug, does his sermon, and he will have sermon notes up, and he will do his sermon. The sermon usually takes 40 minutes to an hour, and then he concludes. The worship team that assembled for songs goes down after they do the first three. They reassemble, and then we do a final song, and then Doug says, "You are sent," and that's the conclusion of the service. Usually, as I go through Windows Explorer, I don't want to show what I am looking at, but I'm looking at different files. 8 of us, the 2 of the 3 members on the AV team, and a few members of the executive pastor, the pastor, and a few other people that help with putting together the slides. And we also keep study guides. We hand out half sheets of paper, and on one side is bulletins, things that we talk about during announcements, but that most poignant items of the announcement are put on the front sheet. And usually there's a study guide, which Doug will refer to, and he'll say several times during the sermon, "If you're taking notes," and then that's a cue to fill in something on the study guide on the back side of the sheet. I gotta figure out how they do, how they're able to print on both sides. Maybe they just, print on one side of the paper, and then I wonder if they have a printer that prints on both sides, because most printers don't, that I've ever dealt with. So that's kind of curious in itself. And Doug will leave me usually a sermon notes. He will show us in doing the slides what he is about to say. So he has an iPad, and this is something that was new last year. And he has an iPad, and it's connected to ProPresenter, our slide service, a kind of aggregation of PowerPoints. And he will press the slides that he wants, and then he will press a blank button on either end, and that will put the camera back on him. We have macros that we use, and the macros direct OBS. And I'm recording this on OBS right now, by the way, but it's a different OBS that's on a Mac computer. I run a PC computer here in my home. But what I was trying to say is, if we keep notes still, we keep where he is in the sermon still, because the iPad could break down, and we have to figure out, okay, where is he? You want to be sitting in front of that computer and be wondering in mind. You want to be aware of where he is in the sermon, and he will box in his PDF document, or sometimes it's a DOCX document, when you should be showing a certain slide. And then he prays us out. We do the final song, and then we go on our merry way. But today is the 3rd Sunday of the month, so we do a kind of brunch, which they call Missions Cafe, and we're doing tacos today. That's just kind of a side issue. And just to make things just a little more interesting, it's about 60 right now outside, and by the time we get out from Missions Cafe, it's going to be about 50, and it's going to be raining. And they were thinking earlier this week that it was going to snow. There was a 2% chance of it snowing here in Lake County, but in the last few days that has faded. Right now it's snowing up in northwest Florida, Crestview, Pensacola way. So it's going to be an interesting day, and looking forward to it. And hello again, everybody. It is now Monday, what would that be, the 19th of January. Sorry, folks. I'm a little bit of a mental fog. I slept late this morning, and when you're on disability, you could do that because you don't really have anything to do. But at any rate, I wanted to go over some of the things that happened yesterday when I was doing the slides. The first thing that happened, and I didn't figure this out till 9:50. Sometimes I use we when I should be saying I, so forgive me when I do that. The iPad that my pastor has wasn't working, and we were trying to figure out what it was. The service was going to start at 10. We really didn't have a lot of time to think about what the problem might be. So what I did was, instead of the pastor using his iPad to press the slides that he wanted, I did that. We have the notes, the sermon script, if you will, and I could do that. See, there I go saying we when I should have said I again. Uh, I could do that when it was needed, and the same thing with the announcements. He will press the buttons and he will show the slides that he wants, and instead of we just do it manually. I just do it manually. There I go again. And like I said, I figured out after the service when I came home that the most likely thing that had happened was that the iPad was on the Wi-Fi network, and on the Mac it was not on the Wi-Fi network. It uses Ethernet. So I'm thinking that's what the problem was, but I just couldn't think about it until I was almost uh, sleeping last night. And it was another cold morning this morning. It was somewhere around 35 degrees this morning. So we're having a nice little series of cold snaps. But hey, it's wintertime. That's what's going to happen. Now, just to show you that anything that can go wrong will when you're doing something live, I had the wrong sermon script up. When Doug does his sermon, I have the script, and I will know, and this came in very well when with the iPad being down, that I was able to do the put the slides up at the right times because he has everything in a box when he wants the slide being shown, and I was able to go through the slides 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One we never use because if he has the iPod working, he just uses that, presses the button, and the camera goes back to him, our sermon camera, via a macro. But I had to scramble for a few minutes to find the right script because I thought I had the right script up. And there are several files on the computer. So it's very easy to make a mistake and have the wrong script up. I'm wondering, what is he talking about? And I just looked at the document on the Mac. It was the 11th, not the 18th. So I fixed that in a couple of minutes. I just had to hope that he wasn't going to a slide before I had caught up. And I was saying earlier that I have neuropathic feet, which means I can't drive myself to church. And it's been that way now since 2017, and now it's 2026. So this has been my case for a while. And I learned this weekend, I do a men's breakfast with several of our church members. Rob picks me up and I go to it on Saturday mornings, and it goes from 7:30 to 9. I learned this week that if I have to Uber in, which happens maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I will have to Uber in if I am up to do the slides, that they are going to compensate me for my Uber ride. I just give them a screenshot of Uber used to email me receipts, but for some reason, somehow they stopped doing that. So I'll just take a screenshot of what the price was and I give it to them. And I'm kind of thinking they might be grooming me to be the AV video team leader. The person who is the team leader now wasn't in yesterday, didn't tell anybody she was going to be in. I just think she's kind of bored with it. Just my personal opinion, and they might be grooming me to be the team leader. Now, I don't know I want to be the team leader because obviously with the iPad problem and me not figuring out what it was until it was too late, I don't know everything. And we had another problem where ProPresenter was not projecting onto the 2 projectors that we used that you saw in that little 10-second. You saw the one that was on the front side of the church. There's another one in the back side of the church that the worship team can see. But I could not figure that out in time, so I'm just kind of wondering if they are grooming me to eventually be team leader, which I don't know if I want to do it, but if you're called to do something religious, then you probably should do it, and that's probably what my ultimate answer would be. So I just wanted to share all that with you. I know for some of you this is probably very mundane and boring, but this is kind of my life right now. And I'm just glad I have these decisions, and I'm glad I can do this for people at my church, and just happy to have something to do in my life at nearly 55 years of age. So I hope you enjoyed this little thought process I have gone through the last 3 days, and we'll do another blog some other time. Bye bye.